what makes Helium 10 stand out?
When I say number one, it just means not my personal opinion, but number one as in it's the most used. We have over 1 million active users.
So my question is, where do you get this keyword?
100% Amazon. We do have a tool that gets trending keywords from Pinterest.
Have you tried, smart scouts, like, seller map? Did you have something that you're planning to implement?
I don't know anything about that. If it's what I think it is, like a map of where sellers are, we were the first ones to implement, like in Chrome extension.
Ecom Squeezed podcast.
Welcome to Ecom Squeezed. My name is Sebastian, founder of Retail-Outsource, and today we have a very special guest, Bradley Sutton, and he's in Dubai and attending World EF, and he's going to give us some insight on how Helium works and what are the best tools within Helium 10. By the way, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great. And how long have you been working on Helium 10?
About 6.5 years now.
That's great. So, there are plenty of videos on YouTube, and he publishes on a weekly basis. So it's fantastic. I recommend that you go and check the channel as well. So I want to ask, why Helium 10? There are plenty of tools within the Amazon space. Like, what makes Helium 10 stand out?
Yeah, that's always a question that, like, why is Helium 10 number one? Like, people can see. When I say number one, it just means not my personal opinion, but number one as in it's the most used. We have over 1 million active users. Like the next most is maybe 400,000. So people say, why? How come you weren't the first? Like tools like Jungle Scout or others were around before us. Like, how did we take such a market? And it's because we've been dedicated frantically to provide for what the customers want. And so we have over 40 different tools, and we have functionality that nobody else has. There are a lot of good software companies out there who are really good at one thing, maybe a profits tool, maybe an inventory management tool, maybe a PPC tool, maybe a keyword research, a Chrome extension. We're the best, but we have everything, in one. And so that's the main difference is, people worry now about profitability a lot more than before. It's more expensive to sell on Amazon. And so you want to save money any way you can. So it's of course better to have just one software program instead of having to have like 10 different ones that add up to a lot more.
Yeah. Which I see that there are a lot of tools within Helium 10. So which one will be your best one if you pick one or two?
The ones that I think if you would ask 10 people, at least 9, including myself, would say their favorite tool is the Cerebro. For the keyword research. Almost everybody. Like we've got some features that are very unique. The one that everybody loves is the historical feature, where I could see, of course, hey, where are products ranking now? Or in the last 30 days. But maybe I have a seasonal product, and this is my first year selling Christmas time. I don't have my own data to look at what happened before. Right now, maybe I could. It's December, but let's say in October I was preparing my listing for December. The search volume for and keywords for Christmas are not being searched in October. But we have like time machine. We're like, hey, let me look at one of my competitors who was selling last year, who was selling in 2022 in November, in December. What keywords were driving the sales? So you could do that. So I think a lot of people know about that function, but the one that I think is almost just as valuable in a different way that 99% of Helium 10 customers I think are ignoring is something called the Amazon recommended rank. What that means is it's a column there that almost nobody looks at. That is a direct feed from Amazon API. This is not a Helium 10 estimation or some algorithm. And basically we discovered, and I every time I say this, I'm shocked. We have had this for 3 years. Still, nobody else has discovered where we're getting this. But we've discovered a metric in Amazon. Maybe we're the only ones who have access. I don't know. But where for every product going to at least 1,000 keywords, it ranks the top 1,000 keywords that Amazon thinks is relevant to the product. And so it's a way where you can kind of like understand, hey, what does Amazon think my product is? Because those top keywords, if I get any activity on it, it's going to be very good for, I'm going to be able to rank, I'll get lots of PPC impressions. But if the rank is low or it's not one of the top 1,000 keywords, sometimes you can't get impressions in PPC, and maybe I do get a sale, but my ranking doesn't go up. So it's like a very important metric, and Cerebro is the only tool that has that.
Oh, that's great. And I want to, we use Helium 10 Cerebro within our agency for the last 6 years. And we have tried a lot of other softwares, and the amount of keywords that Helium 10 Cerebro puts, it's blown away, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, where do you get this keyword data from? Do you just focus on Amazon, or do you get it from other, like Google or TikTok or YouTube?
100% Amazon. Okay. We do have a tool that gets trending keywords from Pinterest, but it's not involved inside of our Amazon tools. It's like a separate Pinterest tool. So everything comes from, like Amazon data points, because, and Walmart, where we obviously have Walmart keywords data as well. But yeah, everything we want to keep in the ecosystem. So we have 12 marketplaces, from USA to Japan, Brazil, UAE. And then so the keywords come from each of those marketplaces.
That's great. And the amount of filters that you have within Cerebro, and that's amazing. And my next question will be for the review request, that you have that option within Helium 10, and you can put a lot of filters. So just to give us an overview how it works, and how sellers can utilize that function.
My personal recommendation, this is just me as an Amazon seller myself, is I use it, but I do not do the custom emails, even though Helium 10 has the option. And I used to. The reason is, for the last 3 years, Amazon has been very inconsistent with how it polices that. You could have something that is 100% okay, but maybe one auditor in Amazon will say, oh yeah, of course, this is no problem. And then another person looks at the same message and says, all right, you get 30-day ban from sending messages because this is forbidden language. And this one is the wrong one. But because it's inconsistent, it's got to be a human, or maybe it's an AI who is not trained properly. What I do is I only use in follow-up the request to review. So that triggers the Amazon one, because then I know 100% I'm never going to have a problem. Is that going to convert as well as my custom email? Of course not. The Amazon custom template is not great. I can write something really cool to get their attention and like, don't open this email or something like that to get a good open rate. But for me, it's like better to just not have to worry, is some random Amazon employee going to close my buyer seller message. So I do the follow-up for request review, but the difference is, compared to just clicking the button, obviously I'm automating it, but I can choose when it goes out. So if I have a diet pill, right? I don't want to send a request review right after they get the product. It's going to be a negative review. Like, well, I didn't lose 10 pounds yet, so why this product sucks. So I'll be like, no, wait 25 days, to send it. But maybe I have like a party supply that I think, probably they're going to use it pretty fast. Okay, maybe I want that to deliver to them 5 days after the product arrives. So that's how a follow-up helps. It's not just the automation from having to one by one click the button, but it's like being able to, at the keyword or at the product level, say which ones you want to get the messages and when, and then stop messages like, hey, I don't want to send a request review to somebody who refunded or canceled. Obviously they would probably leave a bad review, or maybe I only want to request a review to somebody who has ordered more than one time, because then the chances that it's a good review. So there's a lot of different customization you can do.
That's great. And I want to ask about the AI listing creation that you have on Helium 10. Is it optimized for like Rufus, intent-based search and stuff like that? So how does it work?
So it's based. It's very keyword based as a start, which is always important. Because some people try and say, oh yeah, Amazon is different now. You can get indexed for more keywords thanks to AI, and that's true. But it's never, you want to be indexed for the right keywords from day one, not to wait 4 months for the AI to learn, even though white paper is not in a listing, we can see that people who are buying white paper, so we'll go ahead and index it. But the AI doesn't do that overnight. It takes time. But if white paper is a very important keyword, I want to be indexed for that from day one. I want to send PPC to that from day one. So the process is, first find all your right keywords from Cerebro, and put all those in the list. Put your competitors, and then it writes it based on this scoring system we have for the SEO. But something important that we have told everybody, and this has nothing to do with AI, that's why for me, like sometimes people say, oh my goodness, everything has changed with Rufus and Cosmo. And no, not one thing has changed with the way I make my listing. Why? Because I have been teaching now, and I've been doing for 5 years, 6 years since I've been making listings, is you don't just put search terms in a listing.
Yeah.
You don't just keyword stuff. You have to talk about what are the use cases of your product. Like I've trained people to, hey, use review insights in Helium 10, the Chrome extension, on the reviews. Find what are the common phrases. I've always used the example of collagen peptides.
Yeah.
The number one thing, the coffee is coffee, and in the coffin shelf, there's always something unique where it's not a search term, but you find these use cases. What are the problem points it solves? Put that in your listing, and then from day one, Amazon knows what it is. So that's why people are so worried about, oh, everything needs to be different because of Rufus, and you need to do this and this. It's all true that you need to do to talk about the use cases. But to me, I've been already doing that years before AI, because that's always been the best practice. And so our listing builder tool allows you to just take the keywords, but then there's a big box where it says, hey, put in here, what are the use cases of the product? What problems does it solve? And then you put it there, and then now it makes the listing combining keyword search terms with the use cases and pain points, and then it does a nice optimized listing. Now, for me, I speak English, obviously. English is my first language. So if I'm writing a listing for Amazon USA, maybe I don't need that, like to help with my language, but sometimes I have writer's block where I need to get at least a vibe, a start, and then so I still use it, and then I'll tweak it a little bit. But it's especially helpful. Like me, I kind of speak Spanish, like 80%, but I'm not a native speaker. So if I'm making a listing for Amazon Mexico or Amazon Spain, which is actually a different kind of Spanish than I speak, it's more useful to me. It's most useful, like Amazon Germany. I don't speak any German. So I can write, because the keywords that Helium 10 gets is obviously from the German marketplace, so that's all in German. But then I can write in my own language, English, those pain points and interesting facts about my product, and then it's going to take that English and weave it into my listing, but in German. And so that's the tool. And then we have a scoring system where, at least for the SEO part, is you can see, all right, get to a point where you have the best score compared to your competitors.
And you've been mentioning about honeymoon period in a lot of videos, right? We have a counter argument from Danny. He came up with a list of things, files and things from Amazon to argue it doesn't, there's no honeymoon period. So what are you going to say about?
Oh, no, there's 100% what we have called honeymoon period. Now, somebody sent me clips. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I don't know what that is, but that's never been what the honeymoon period has been. In the clips, again, I didn't listen to the whole thing, so I could be wrong, but the exact clip where I heard, I think you're referring to, where they were saying, oh, how there's this period where Amazon just pushes you to the top if it's a new product. Like, that has never been what I consider the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
I don't know whose definition that is, but if you look at anything I've been doing for 7 years, 6 years, not 7 years, almost 7 years, when I say honeymoon period, and whenever anybody I know says honeymoon period, it's referring to when a product is new, little things that you do, like a sale or an add to cart or whatever, conversion rate, little things will have a bigger impact.
Sure.
And it's because Amazon has a smaller sample size. That's what I consider the honeymoon period. Like, if a listing is 1 year old, it has millions of data points. So just one sale, nothing's going to happen. Like, no, oh, I know this is an outlier. But in the beginning, you get 1 sale, 2 sales, it actually has a bigger bump. To me, that's the honeymoon period. That is still 100% going on. Even the Amazon has called that, we don't know exactly what Amazon has implemented, but they use words like cold start and things like that to kind of like describe what that is. But that has always been the honeymoon. It's still the exact, I'm doing the exact same thing this year. I mean, not exactly the same, but there's always little tweaks I do. But basically the same honeymoon launch, and I'm having the exact same results as I did 2-3 years ago. Now, again, so I don't know what that was referring to. Maybe that was somebody else's definition of honeymoon.
It makes sense.
And I would have told you, I don't need Amazon documents to know that. No, that's not the case. Even 3 years ago, Amazon just doesn't randomly throw something at the very top just for fun.
Exactly.
So in a sense, I agree, but at the same time, I disagree, because if we're talking about what I consider the standard definition of money growth. It's different.
I think your definition is different compared to what the market thinks and bumping up.
Yeah.
The samples is always the matter of samples, right? What data Amazon have.
Exactly.
So we have like X volume for that. And my next question about, have you tried, smart scouts, like, seller map? Did you have something that you're planning to implement?
I don't know anything about that. If it's what I think it is, like a map of where sellers are, something. I mean, we obviously, we were the first ones to implement, like in Chrome extension, you just look at the search results and you can see, hey, here is, this is China, this is India, this is a UK seller. And even in Black Box, we had an advanced tool for elite members where you can see, hey, what is the average? So we've had that, but we've never really had customers ask for that kind of tool because it's not really useful. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to, I see there's many sellers in Calcutta, so I'm not going to sell this. I mean, like, I don't understand like how we use it. But if people said, hey, we would like to have a seller map, we obviously have the data. So, like, is that something you want us to make?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
How would you use it then?
So it's for as an agency, we know exactly, in sellers.
You're going to come to my house for hey, please use my agency.
What we normally do, we know the sellers. We have a certain, ICP, what we want to target for the sellers, and then we make a personal video for them, saying, okay, we will check their account and then we target it. Not mainly for sellers, but for agencies.
Well, you know what you should do, and this is for anybody out there too. It could be about anything in Helium 10 at all. But anytime you have a suggestion like that, even if you think it's not many, like obviously there's not many agencies compared to sellers, but still put it through. So there's in the top of Helium 10, there's a button. It looks like magnifying glass and it has the AI symbol. It's our AI symbol. The main function of that is to just search things in Helium 10, like, hey, how do I find a product? But if you click it once, there is a line that says suggest an idea or suggest a tool or something like that. Hit that. Even I'm literally telling you to do this later today, and then say, hey, I would like a seller map, but say why too, because otherwise we're like, why do we need a map? So say, oh, because I'm an agency and I want to do some targeting. And then for any of you, if there's any tool that we don't have or some feature that you want changed, hit that button, and that is literally how we make all of our tools. A lot of tools maybe come from my ideas, but even me, it comes from the people. I don't just do my own personal wish list, but the rest of it comes from what agencies, what sellers are asking for. So please.
Yeah,
so with that.
That's great. And about reverses, and what are the best tips that you have that if you want to mention, maybe a few when you do?
We mentioned already about the historical, and we mentioned about the Amazon recommended rank, which is actually very important when you first start the listing, because I'm sure you having dealt with many accounts have seen it where your index for the keyword, and it's your main keyword. But then all of a sudden it's a new listing and you can't get any impressions in PPC. You're like, what is going on? I put the bid $5 and I still can't get it. Well, it's probably because of the relevancy thing. And so that's why I would use the reverse async tool, not even to see where a product is ranking. So like I make a test listing a lot of times. If it's an important product I'm launching, I will, I have my what's the UPC, GS1. So I have GS1, a lot of GS1 barcodes. I'll throw away one. I waste $8. That's fine. I use it to make a new listing. I use the whole listing that I'm going to have. I make it a fulfilled by merchant just to get the listing active. I'll maybe put a stupid price just to make sure nobody buys it, right? So this is even before I'm ready to sell it. And then I already did all my keyword research. I was like, all right, here is my listing. Let me upload it. Let Amazon understand it for about a few hours. And then I run it through Cerebro. Now, Cerebro, everybody uses it, 99.9%. Oh, I'm using it to see where I'm ranking, competitors' rankings. I'm obviously not ranking for any keywords when it's a brand new listing. But what I'm doing is, hey, is Amazon confused about my product? And then so I sort it by the Amazon recommended rank. I look at the top 20 keywords. What is this? Because it's not going to be always your number one keywords. It doesn't have to be. But it at least gives a picture. Is Amazon confused about your product? Because I had the example I give of some funny socks. I have where it's socks, but on the bottom of one it says, if you can read this, bring me coffee, right?
Yeah.
What I would do, I'm going to make one. If you can read this, bring me chicken biryani, because that's my favorite. But anyways, that'll be my next sock. But when I launched that product, it was a test I was doing. I couldn't get any traction for my main keywords, which was gifts for coffee lovers and for moms who love coffee. Like things like, I'm like, what is going on? I can't get any impressions. And when I ran it through Cerebro, I saw the top 20 keywords was all just generic: black sock, pink sock, socks for mothers and stuff.
Yeah.
There was nothing coffee related. And again, and then I thought, I was like, oh, I could see there's a problem. It's not 100% Amazon's fault. Kind of it is, but coffee is a grocery category keyword.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm obviously in the clothing category.
Yeah.
And so I needed to send more signals to Amazon.
Right.
But then I would already launch the product.
Yeah.
And so my honeymoon period, again, what I consider the honeymoon period, it's already started. So I'm wasting time trying to fix, what's going on of this short period of time I have during the honeymoon period to get traction. And I was able to fix it, but now maybe I wasted 1 week. So if I would have made the test listing first, and just for 1 day, and then figure out what I have to, if anything, please don't be scared if you're not doing this. Oh my goodness, every one of your launches will fail. 90% of the time, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it's this 10% of the time, you might have a problem. And then with this test listing, now you figure out, how do I fix the problem? All right, I send some traffic to this, and then wait 1 day, and then run the recommended rank again. And I did that. And now coffee keywords were in the top 5. So now I knew it was going to be okay. But then what happens is, now I make my real listing. Once it's ready to launch, I go ahead and launch the same exact listing.
Yeah.
But then if I already knew, hey, in the first day, I have to do send the traffic or send some outside, traffic to this keyword or something, just to send the signal to Amazon that this is important. Now I do it as soon as the product launches, and now I'm good to go for my honeymoon period. So I would say, again, 99% of customers are not using this, but it's what I use every single time I launch a product now.
Great. To follow up on that question, you have the index checker, right?
Yes.
Within Helium 10. So let's assume that we list the product today, right? At what stage you have to do that index check? Is that 1 week? Should we wait 1 week or 2 weeks? Is there any time frame for that?
It's immediate. So if your listing is active, you'll know right away. 2 hours, you should know. Now, let's say you change your list, you're not indexed for a keyword. You forgot to put it in your listing, and you put it in. Now, sometimes you have to wait maybe 2 or 3 hours for it to go through, but it's usually you'll get indexed, right away for the keyword. If you can't get indexed for it, the one thing that still works, if your product has it, is there's this category called special features. And so sometimes I'll put in the special features that keyword, and then even though I have it in 5 times in my listing, Amazon still doesn't index me, but sometimes that'll be the kind of last resort to get indexed for a keyword.
That's great. And thanks a lot for all the advice, and thanks a lot for the time and coming out there. I appreciate that. And I'll put all the link down there in the description for Helium 10 and Bradley's LinkedIn profile. All those things will be there within the show notes. Thanks a lot for